Hi, welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we got something super special. I didn't think we'd get here, baby. It's 100 subscriber special. So today we got something interesting. We got this little Super Saiyan Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. I picked this up last time I was in Japan with my wife, and you can see the little emblem on the back. I'm not sure who the maker is, but there it is. And let's do this. Alright, so to start things off, let's take a look at our clean little thumb palette here and see how that goes later. And we're going to start with Talazar Blue, the bodysuit. He's got his Saiyan armor on, so he's got that blue, trademark blue undersuit. And we're just going to go over that with Talazar Blue, contrast paint, and get it kind of blocked in, set up. So last time I was in Japan with my wife, we're going to do a little story time here. This is a different video. We're gonna talk about the paint and we're gonna get real. Last time I was in Japan, visiting my wife's family, we went to some. I can't remember what the place was. It was like a strip mall. The whole building, floor after floor after floor, was independent sellers selling either their own personal collections. Of like Dolphies, toys, anime collectibles, miniatures, Gunpla, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I was looking for miniatures, rare little miniatures. Hey, look, it's War Colors again. Blue 2. Love those names. Easy to keep track of. We're just going to dry brush that on, sort of clean up Talazar Blue. But last time I was there, I was specifically looking for a Goblin Slayer miniature. They released a collector's edition of the role-playing game based off Sword World. It's a D6 game. Anyway, I'm rambling. I was looking for this miniature, and instead I found a couple little interesting bits and bobs that you might see on the channel here and there for special occasions. This is one of them. Got this guy for, I believe, I want to say 500 yen, so it's like $5. Yeah, I didn't even have a price tag on him. He was just sitting in a window in a guy's like junk collection, wall to wall, tiny gacha from like the 70s. Blue 1 here, War Colors again, giving it a dry brush just to make it pop. Yeah, I got that among some other things. There'll be some other Dragon Ball related items. I got a Miyazaki related item that I'm sure will be real fun, real cool to do a video on. Let me know if you want to see those sooner than later. I know we got Hero Quest going. We're doing all kinds of awesome work with that. We're finally getting into the miniatures, so I know that that's exciting. I know that you guys might want to just keep it rolling with Hero Quest for a while. That's why I did this separate. It's a special. Not going to take away from your Hero Quest time. So just let me know what you think. We can, make it flexible, make it fun for everybody. Because that's why we do this, right? We do this for the fun. Look forward to all your guys' inputs and sharing what you're working on. And I hope this is all helpful and interesting and just fun. We got some other stuff that might not be miniatures related, I guess. If you guys know anything about those like shadow boxes, they had some really cool shadow boxes for Dragon Warrior. That was really awesome. I picked some of those up. What else we got? Gunpla, gotta have Gunpla. Gulliman Blue. Okay, so this is actually kind of interesting and important. Gulliman Blue here is being used. It's a glaze, so it's a very thin colored. It's almost like a shade, I guess you could say. It's got a lot of pigment to it, but it's transparent, and so we're going to use that sparingly. You don't want to use a glaze as a shade. You don't want it to seep into the crevices and creases and stuff. You just want to use it as a tinting coat, and so that's what we used it there for. We went over all of our bright highlights that we brought up, and we toned them all down and sort of brought them together. This is also something important I haven't done yet or before that I do on a lot of my miniatures with contrast, is I go back in with the contrast and I paint in the shadows. Um, for all my Frostgrave Warband guys, I painted all those guys with base coats of contrast with a primer of white, just like this guy. And so they don't have that built-in zenithal, but I think it's real punchy, real poppy to go back in with the contrast paint and just paint in those shadows, get those nice blends in. It's really interesting if you go in thin, go in sparing, you get those nice little feathered edges you can mix water in. It's a cool process. I don't know. I think it's nifty painting in the shadows. A lot of people don't do that, and contrast paints allow you to do that real nice. Here we go, getting his little hips in. Blue one again. We're coming back in here for, it's gotta look anime, it's gotta look cell shaded. We're coming in here with some punchy, real bright highlights. We're gonna do some thin ones. The other ones before were kind of scratchy, textured, just to build up that depth. This miniature is a chunky boy. He a big boy. He's damn boy. He's thick. He a thick ass boy. Damn boy. So he's a thick boy, and as such, his detail is not the greatest. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint in the detail. We're gonna paint in that extra detail, and that's part of the contrast. Painting in the shadow, an extra layer. We're gonna do that with our highlights. We're gonna paint in that extra detail that might not necessarily be there. You can see it with the delts here, how it's we're splitting into the three, right? Picking them out. Armor time. Skeleton Horde. One or two coats, you know, on this one. I don't think anybody else has this miniature. If you do, you're freaking lucky. You could follow along with me. But for his armor, I did about 2 coats of Skeleton Horde to really make the contrast in the shadows pop and give it a punch of color. The Skeleton Horde, sometimes when you're putting it on, you know, if you want it for bone and stuff, it can go on pretty light. But I really wanted that saturated sepia look, and I wanted a lot to rest in the recesses, so I gave it I think 2 coats. Wraithbone coming in here to make the armor kind of pop. I'm always popping, locking, set it dropping. But we're just painting up like a mid-tone here. I think I did maybe two passes, just going thinner and thinner. That's actually one of the things I like about Wraithbone, is you can do multiple layers and it will get brighter, even though it is a pretty opaque base paint. Apothecary white here for all the white bits. You know, his armor has a lot of white. The gloves are white. A lot going on there. That's like similar colors, I mean, going on. And then also we're going to use it on the boots here. Hey, notice I didn't paint the toes of those boots. If you watch anime, you know this armor. Just don't be surprised later when you see that the toes of the boots are painted. Apothecary white, I think, is a really awesome, cool white. The gray tone in it is real nice. I use it all the time for, you know, like old man hair, I think is good. Usually I like to do a sepia robe, but you know, if you want a different robe, you just throw that in there. I think it makes for a nice clean robe. Here I'm using Corax white to layer back up, and I thought it was a good idea. I thought, oh yeah, Corax white, that's a pretty opaque, pretty thick chunk paint, and I really hate using it. I don't think I'm ever going to use it again. It's really difficult to use. It dries out super fast. Like, as soon as you crack that lid open, you better use it right away. You know, you better be underwater when you're painting, because that shit's going to dry out so fast. It's a basically, they should label it a dry paint, not a base paint. It is garbage. Either way, I thought, yeah, I got this. I'll use it. I remember it being good coverage. Really tricky to use. Regretted it almost immediately. So I went with my dollar store white, and I went right over that, and actually used my dollar store white as a brighter highlight. Who would have thought? Crappy craft paint is better than Citadel's Corax white base. Who'd have thought? Now you know. Don't buy that garbage. You want you want a really bright white? Get some craft paint. Go to the dollar store. Go to Michael's. Buy some. All right, our boy. He's Super Saiyan, so we gotta go in with that yellow. We gotta make him a blondie. He's powered up. Yeah, in yellow, good coverage. I like the orange shade, shadow, contrasty bit it leaves behind. I think it's a good one. I know that they got some new ones out. I haven't used them yet. Don't own them. Don't care. I got other yellows if I need them. Maybe down the line. All right, coming in with some Wraithbone to kind of brighten this hair up. We're gonna do another glaze, so we're really gonna brighten this up a lot. We're gonna be, way more than you would want to if you were not doing a glaze. But we're wanting to build up a lot of depth, and so we're just gonna cover this bad boy in layers of paint to really bring up that brightness. So we're gonna do a layer of Wraithbone, and just like the armor, we're gonna do a second layer of Wraithbone, more close to the center. And bring that up. Hit it with that dollar store white again, even closer to the center, in preparation for that glaze. Look at him, he's already looking real different, real cell shaded, real poppy, right? Look how colorful he is. What a fun model. Alright, so for our glaze, we're going to use a shade paint. We're going to use Casandora Yellow. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. We're going to do the same thing as we did with the Gollum Blue, and we're going to just put it, you don't want it to sit in the recesses. You just want to literally put a light coat on and just get it over everything, and it's going to just tint everything like you see. And here on the back, you can really see how bright we made that. And the Casandora Yellow is just really toning everything down and bringing it all together, right? Back with that dollar store white, baby. It's so good. It's good for everything. It's great. Get one. We're going to use this for some really bright highlights. And now that we got the tone in there, right? Now that we got the depth and we've glazed it back, we're going to use that dollar store white sparingly. We're going to use it just on the tippy tips and the little bits. On the back here, this is something I started doing a couple of years ago for highlights. I do anime highlights now on a lot of figures. It might not always be white, but I'll do this sort of anime / real world highlighting. Okay, so for the skin, this is my usual skin recipe. You'll see this a lot. If we do Caucasian skin, this is how I do it all the time. It depends on if I want to make them paler or darker or whatever. I might mix it up a little bit, but generally speaking, my generic mid-tone Caucasian flesh is start with Guilliman flesh tone. Pop that in there. Here we go with Cadian flesh tone to clean it all up. Bring in those mid-tones again. Sometimes I skip this step. It really depends on how smooth that Guilliman flesh layer goes down. If it's real smooth, you get a lot of contrast in the deep shadows and the recesses, then maybe I won't do it. But it really depends. This one, there was a couple pooling in spots of the sculpt, and I wasn't a fan of it. Kislev Flesh. Now we're doing highlights. Yeah, if I skip that step, I just jump straight into Kislev Flesh. We're gonna hit stuff like the nose, the brow, ridges of the forehead, the chin, the cheekbones. Gonna bring in some highlights in here. All right, Pallid Witch Flesh. I like to do a really bright spot highlight on my Caucasian flesh. I think it really makes it pop. It really makes the features defined. You can really see the facial features. It doesn't have to be a lot. You know, you don't have to put like a fully opaque dot. You know, thin it down a little bit, put it in there. It'll be good. Gulliman Flesh here. We're using this underneath his heavy ass brow. You can see that the Gulliman Flesh before settled nicely in the recesses around the eye and framed it nicely. It did not, however, sit nicely on the upper eye. So I'm going in with this just to clean that up. Alright, so if anybody knows Super Saiyans, you know that they got these kind of blue-green eyes, right? And so I'm using Space Wolves Gray as a kind of base for that, and just going in and picking them out. So I had to do the rest off camera because it's really hard to paint eyes on camera, and you can see, even then, made a little mistake. So let's take care of that with that craft paint white and just clean up the eye line. Because remember, huge motto on this channel, it's okay to make mistakes. It's gonna happen, you can fix it. I went in after with this blue and just dotted in some more blue. The Space Wolves Gray was not enough for me. I took blue 1 for more colors and I slapped that right in there. Abaddon Black for the base. Figured a simple black base would be nice. He's got lots of color on him. He doesn't need a texture base. He's got a generic pose. We just want the paint to really stand out. So black base on this guy. Let it rip. Alright, look at that. Here we go. The results of our hard work. A nice, distinct thumb palette. But here we go. Here's our figure. Trunks. Super Saiyan Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. I hope you guys had a really fun time listening to me ramble, watching me paint this kind of unique, interesting miniature. If you liked it, let me know in the comments below. Smash the thumbs up. Hit all the bloops. Subscribe, bell notification, all that jazz. And let's keep doing this. Let's keep going. Let's rock on. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.